Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to Mohawk Motors. My name is Jason. I've got a little project today on my white 2500 HD. It's not a problem, but it's something that kind of bugs me and I want to get it taken care of. So I have an idea that I think is going to make this much easier for me to do by myself. And maybe it'll help you too if you need to do this. So let me grab my tools, gather everything up, and I'll show you what we're doing. Okay, so on my white truck here, this one is a 2002 2500 HD Silverado, but you could use this on any of the GMT 800 platform. So pretty much any of the 99 to 2007 Classic and 2006 full-size SUVs, this will work, right? So the door, it closes a little hard, and if you can see here, I've got some play in my door pins, my door hinges. Super common issue in these trucks, and you have to replace the door pins and bushings to correct it. Now, every time I've done this in the past, I've just muscled my way through it, because you have to take the door off the truck to actually do it. But I've got an idea that I think will make it easier. So here's my idea. Rather than getting the hinges unbolted, getting the wiring disconnected, and then just muscling this door off the truck and try and find somewhere soft to put it so I don't bang up the bottom or chip the paint, I think I can use the engine hoist and a ratchet strap to lift the door from the top, and then I can just roll it out of my way, let it hang while I replace the hinge pins and bushings. It saves me, one, it saves my back from lifting the heavy dang door, but two, it saves me from having to set something up to put it on and not chipping the paint up and all that jazz. So I'm going to try it, and then while I'm at it, I'm going to show you guys how to replace your door pins in these things. I guess step one is going to be get the arm lifted high enough up to actually reach the top of the door. All right, so let's talk about how you actually get the door off the truck. Mine is a work truck model, so it's very simple, but it's the same for all of them, right? All these GMT 800s, the door hinge system is the same. The only small difference you might have is the electrical connections, but they still all connect in the same place. So again, this will work for all of them. So your hinges themselves, you have a 10 millimeter retaining bolt and a 10 millimeter retaining bolt in each hinge. Your door check on the front doors is a 10 millimeter bolt as well. If you have like an extended cab or I believe a crew cab also, no, it's just the extended cabs. That door check bolt it's a T25 if I remember correctly. I'm not sure, you might have to check, but no, it's an inverted, it's an E bolt. I think it's like an E14 or something like that. But the extended cabs are the only ones that are different. The crew cabs, Suburbans, Tahoes, Sierras, Silverados, all of those, they're all 10 millimeter in each hinge, 10 millimeter in the door check. And then you have the wiring connection. So on the door side, I think you can see this here. Your little boot has some square raised parts. Now below those are little ears. Right there. You see the little tabby that sticks out. One on each side, right below those little things. They actually say push on them. Once you get that out, pull your little fuse panel cover, You'll need to pull your little kick panel cover also. You may not. Follow that wire up and it plugs into your fuse panel over here. Unhook that like so. Yep, we need to get our little kick panel out. These kick panels can be tricky. There we go. There's our kick panel. Out of the way. Then I can feed my door harness wire right through the hole, like so. If you got a fancier model with power windows, power doors, power mirrors, etc., you may have two harnesses that come in and connect into this fuse panel. But in my experience, the driver's door, that power, everyone I've seen, they come in, they plug into this fuse panel. Passenger side is same way. You'll pop the little cover out, and then your power supply controls for the passenger door also go in, plug into that panel. I don't have a crew cab or a Suburban or anything here to show you, but those, you pop out the little grommet from the B pillar, and there's a connector inside of there that you can disconnect. So I'll zip these three 10mm bolts out to free the door from the truck, and then I'll get my ratchet strap rigged up to lift it up off of here. Okay, so door check. Bottom hinge. Top hinge. So now my door is free. Where's my ratchet strap? I am gonna peel my window weather stripping down so I don't accidentally smush it. And it just pushes up on there, it's nothing crazy. Get my ratchet strap. Up. Make sure that the ratchet strap is hooked into the picker. Now lift up. My balance point should actually be pretty close to the center of the door. So now I can lift. Off the pins, and I can slide it right out of the way. Just scratch the poop out of this thing. Ah! Okay, I'm not balanced. There we go. That's better. Good? You good? Move my door out of the way. Let's just bring it down a little closer to the ground. There we go. Well, not perfect, but it's out of the way. and I didn't have to break my back to do it, so we'll chalk it up as a success. It'll definitely be easier getting the door back on this way. Let me grab my replacement door pin kit and I'll start showing you how we're actually going to do this. All right, so now that I've got the door off, you can hear that clicking, clacking. And these pins, the top ones are worse than the bottom ones. That's usually how it goes. But I've got my replacement kit here. Now it comes with a top and bottom pin for the top hinge, a top and bottom pin for the bottom hinge, and all 4 new bushings, washers, and nuts. Now, I've seen 2 different styles of door hinge kits, pin replacement kits for these trucks. There's style that uses nuts to tighten up your replacement pins, and there's style that uses clips to retain your replacement pins. The clips are garbage. Don't buy the ones with clips. Get yourself the ones with nuts and washers. That actually allows you to tighten these things up and make sure that your hinges are nice and firm and they don't flop, wobble, draggle all over the place. It doesn't actually fix the problem. The ones with nuts actually correct the worn out bushing situation. But the first thing I need to do here is get my old pins removed. And these are essentially riveted from the factory. They actually squish the pin once it's installed. So to get it out, you need to destroy it. You got to cut it with a cut-off wheel or saw, something like that. I'm going to use a cut-off wheel and try to do as little damage to my inner hinge pieces as possible, because those I need to reuse. So when I get safety geared up, I'll cut those off and then I'll bring you guys back. So when I do this, let me bring you in closer. So here's a close-up view at our hinge. And you can see the bottom here is swollen up. So what I'm gonna do is try to grind off that bottom where it's swollen, and then the same thing down here. When I put this all back together with my new pins and washers, that part is going to be, it's going to have the washer and the nut on it. So if I nick it just a little bit, it's not going to hurt anything. So yeah, you also want to make sure you don't want to hit your fender. So you got to be careful. So yeah, here we go. Now the next trick to this is, you can't just go beating on this with a hammer. You're gonna bend all your stuff all cattywampus and your door's not gonna go back together correctly. So I'm gonna use a C-clamp and some sockets and see if I can't squish my pieces apart so that I don't deform everything in here. Keep going, keep going. Yeah, it started moving. Oh, this clamp is not strong enough to do it. Darn you, clamp. And do I just go for broke and get the ball joint press? That feels like super overkill. but I really don't want to deform these hinges. I've done that before. If you deform the hinges, you're not going to have a good time. The level of overkill this feels like is pretty high. Oh, I think that did the trick though. All right, so there's my pin. And that definitely did feel like super mega overkill. But I've now got that one out without deforming any of my other pieces. And now I have a driver for my other pins. So I'm gonna continue on, get the other 3 out, and then we'll start putting things back together. Well, like always, the right tool for the job, guys. The ball joint press made quick work of both of those pins, and I thought I should show you getting the actual bushings out of the hinge. So when you do these, keep in mind, it's a good idea before you actually drive them out. Make sure your new bushings look about right. And you can take a punch from underneath. You're almost guaranteed that you're going to destroy these. So keep that in mind. This one's so worn out, it wasn't even press fit in there anymore. There's almost nothing left of that one. And my upper here. Hot dang. It's my lucky day. Got both of them out without destroying them. Side by side, can you see? This is the lower, this is the upper. The lower is pretty worn out and very dry. So, I'm gonna clean these off just a little bit, and then I'll put my new bushings in. And then we'll do the bottom the same way. So once it's all back together, then I'll bring you back. All right, I got all the old pins and bushings off. Top is all done. I'm getting ready to tighten down the bolts on the lower. Now it's important to remember here, these are moving pieces, so don't be stingy with your grease. Grease them up really well, get those bushings nice and lubricated, get those pins nice and lubricated, because once this is all pulled together, it's really difficult to get any kind of lubrication in there. Then you just put your nut and washer on the bottom, and tighten them up till they're snug. Now this is where it takes a little bit of feel. You want these to be snug so that they're holding everything together tightly, but not so tight that you can't move the hinge. Keep in mind when the door sits down on here and bolts to this part, this is going to be your pivot. So you want to be sure that, like I said, you're snug. Doesn't have play in it. You're not wiggling all around, but not so tight that you're crushing your bushings or that it can't turn freely inside of your bushings. So I'm going to get these lower nuts tightened up, and then we'll set the door back on. Okay, I've got my new pins all installed. I changed how my ratchet strap was rigged, so it's essentially cinching down on the door under its own weight. So it should not slide around quite so much on me. I'm just going to use the lift the hoist to take most of the weight and getting it up. A little closer. And line up on my pins. Now, if I can tell this thing to just creep down ever so slowly. There we go. Back on. Get the strap on there. Leather stripping back up. Out of the way. And now I just put my wiring back, put my 3 10mm bolts back. It should be all good. There we go. Close it. Oh, there we go. All my door gaps still look good. No more clunk or thunk. When I lift up on the door, nice and solid. Opens. Closes smoothly. There we go. There's my new door pins and bushings. All together. Really, can't even hardly tell I was there. And that's the way I like jobs like this to go. Can't even hardly tell I was there. I feel good. Like I said, that wasn't a huge deal, but I noticed it. It's been kind of nagging at me. And once you can see and feel it, like they go downhill fast. So that should have this truck opening and closing smoothly for a long time. And that's it for this video, team. Quick little repair. Another way you can make use of your engine hoist, your cherry picker, whatever you call this thing, guys. It's got 1,000,001 uses. And really, if you do a lot of stuff in the workshop by yourself or in the driveway by yourself, as you've seen me do for the past few years, this is like having a buddy that doesn't ask you to buy him drinks afterward. So thanks a lot for watching. I hope this helps you guys out. For reference, the driver's door is the door that I see this in most common. Obviously, because the driver's door gets opened and closed more than any other door on the vehicle. So my passenger side is good. Hopefully yours is too. Hopefully you can get that door opening and closing smoothly. Thanks again for watching. Until the next video, everybody, take care.